Hey guys, welcome back. Like M. Night Shyamalan, we came with a twist. We got another movie review coming out. This time is M. Night Shyamalan's latest movie, Glass. It is the final installment in this trilogy.
So we think.
We're gonna get to that in a moment. This trilogy that he makes with 2000's Unbreakable and 2016 Split. No, 2016. Yeah, 2017 Split. Is it the movie that we wanted from M. Night Shyamalan, or is it Shyamalama Ding Dong doing M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong stuff? And I'm kind of torn between the two.
I'm not. There's no split in my head.
Saw what you did there.
Hey.
Hey.
This movie was ass, not glass.
It is Glass without the GL. I wouldn't say it's ass. I would say it's a disappointment. I definitely would say it's a disappointment, but it's still better than most of his movies he had came out with.
Again, just bars are low.
It's like, oh, it's better than The Happening and The Last Airbender. Julian, that's
You're not saying much. Yeah, so was that commercial I watched in between the deep, like, okay, so same with our last review. This is going to be kind of spoiler filled. We're going to talk a lot about the details of this movie and how it may have been not great.
May have not been. It has its moments. It definitely has its moments.
Sure.
All right, fine. We'll just go through a quick story because I'd rather talk about what I was confused about.
Oh man, now I'm thinking more about this movie and I'm getting more mad.
Exactly. Let's brush through the story and then let's talk about why we feel how we feel. So you don't mind if I like retcon speed run through it?
Speed run the movie.
Long story short, we start with David Dunn and his son, who reprises his role. Actually, everybody reprises their role in this movie, which is dope. Except for M. Night Shyamalan, he's some new dude.
No, he's the same character.
Oh, no, you're right. He is the same character.
Because he got patted down for drugs.
Yeah, you're right. So fast forward. Basically, David Dunn is now he is the shape or
overseer.
the overseer or the tiptoe man, whatever the fuck they decided they wanted to call him. So him and his son are doing like this Batman Oracle type shit where he's basically being a vigilante, stopping kids and things like that. He finally steps into Hedwig, who is now having 4 girls in this basement, in this storage place. And basically they have this small fight. Then all of a sudden, Sarah Paulson, who is the doctor of everything, comes in and is like, hey, stop. We're going to arrest y'all.
We know who you are.
We know who y'all are, and we're going to put them in a psych ward, right? Go into the psych ward. Basically, Sarah Paulson, for about 40 minutes, I want to say about almost like a big chunk of the movie, she's trying to not retcon them, but she's basically telling them you're not heroes. And she's like psychologically telling them why they're not heroes and things like that. And to be honest, I don't know if you agree, that was the most interesting part of the movie. We'll get to that in a moment. And so then you're like, okay, why the hell is Glass just been comatose and is not doing shit for the like hour of the movie? And then literally
the title character is just sitting there going
and it's like literally at that moment I was like, all right, whatever. And then at the hour point, Glass comes back. Like we find out that he's been walking around, not walking around, but rolling around. Yeah. He's been rolling around basically messing with stuff in a psych ward. And it's at this point that Kevin and all the horde are now like, maybe we aren't the horde that we think we are. Maybe we aren't as great as we were.
And we're getting little tidbits of the girl from Split and the son going in and out of the psych ward, kind of talking to them. Yeah.
Definitely going to talk about that because I have my problems with that. Then we're in there and we're talking about like how Glass is like wants to team up with Kevin and the horde and basically team up, and then basically they break out. David Dunn
he wants to show that heroes and monsters exist because he's a big comic book guy. That's his whole thing.
That's his whole thing.
Go fight on Tokyo Tower or whatever the hell it is.
Right, whatever tower they find in Philadelphia, the fake fictional tower that they made. We're going to fight there. We're going to kill a lot of people if you don't stop us, David. Stop with the psychological crap. Don't believe her. Come and do your stuff, right? So they have this big fight in the middle of the psych ward house. and Sarah Paulson asks for security to come there, and I'm thinking this is the Philadelphia police. Put a pin in that. We'll talk about this in the next 30 seconds. They're all fighting, and then all of a sudden, David Dunn's son is like, hey, you should be helping Elijah because he's the reason why your dad died. Huh? You remember your dad was on the train? Yeah.
That's the Unbreakable train.
That was the same train that David Dunn was on. You heard Kevin. We appreciate you, but we can't trust you. And he hits him in the shoulder and then hits him in the heart, like in the heart.
And
like
you,
right here.
and they, I don't know if you paid attention, they have a glass shatter noise sound effect when
Right.
that happens.
I heard that.
Because
And
he's
then it's
glass. He's Mr. Glass. Get it?
And so that happens, and you're like, oh, damn. And then the Horde throws David in the tub of water. Like they have long story short, they have ways of subduing all of them. So David had this big water tank that basically, if he ever decided he wanted to knock the walls down, he'll get like drenched in water. And then Kevin had these lights where if every time the lights hit, a different personality hit. So that tub of water was outside of the psych ward. The beast throws him in there and he starts drowning. And then he gets not Redcon, but he breaks out of there and he's like so weak. He's like,
Because he's weak to water. That was
Right.
his whole thing.
Then Anya Taylor-Joy, which again we will talk about in a moment, comes and goes, hugs the beast, goes and hugs him, and it's like Kevin Wendell Crumb. So if you've seen Split, you know that that's
His real name.
his real name, and that's what makes Kevin come out. So when Kevin comes out, he's like, "Oh, you, oh, thank you for being here. Blah blah blah. Thank you so much."
Blah, that.
Dude, yeah.
Sorry.
Dude. Huh? And he's like, he's in his form. We got him. And it's like, did y'all just snipe Kevin? What? Okay. And then, like, Bruce is like, oh, I'm sick. And then there's a puddle of water right there. And the SWAT team goes in, takes him, and starts drowning him in the puddle of water, right? And I'm like, the fuck is going on? And literally, Sarah Paulson
You also
comes
see
in.
all these people have 3-leaf clovers on their wrist.
We're gonna get to this shit in a moment. And literally, the SWAT guy is drowning him, and Sarah Paulson is like, "Give me your hand. Just tell me that I did my job. Tell me that I told you that you're a human. Like, just tell me." And he's like, "Bitch, what? Like, no." And he's like, "Oh, fuck it," and he drowns and dies, right?
Well, when he touches her hand, he gets a vision.
Oh yeah,
He can see.
He touched your hand and he sees everything that has happened.
He sees that there's some kind of cult that they are all part of that have 3-leaf clovers, and that she was sent there for them, 3 specifically. But then, then she's like, "Tell me, did I make you believe that's our humane way of making people stop being superheroes? Is to just make them think they're not, because that somehow makes powers go away."
No, and he dies by an unknown SWAT man drowning him. Then she goes to Glass and it says, "You were right."
Take solace in the fact you were right when you're dying. Have fun.
Exactly, you're right about everything. Have a nice rest of your 30 seconds life, and then walks away. Right. So now I'm like, the fuck just happened? The fuck was this? What? Right? And so then we go in and they explain themselves. They're a 3-leaf clover
Illuminati
type thing that basically are for normal people who doesn't want
the status quo being
status quo to be
superheroes.
interrupted by heroes. Right. And so Sarah Paulson goes out and says, "Thank you for giving me the opportunity to try to fix them. And I'm gonna go to different. If it's okay with you guys, I will go to a different city and keep doing this until like we see no more heroes." And it's just like, you just killed David Dunn by a puddle of water. No, I'm not fucking okay with this twist, M. Night. No.
Don't worry though, there's another twist.
No, and I'm gonna say, yeah, M. Night, this is not okay. This is definitely not okay. So then she goes to the comic book store, which Confusing.
Yeah, there's no reason. So she says, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go to another town and make sure that I can find some other people and try to make them now be the superheroes. Then just goes into a comic book shop, didn't leave town, and there's these guys like, oh, that's what the best part of the mastermind is. You never know what his true plan is. And she's like, oh shit, Mr. Glass is a mastermind. He had a true plan. First, there's no reason for her to be in the comic book shop. That is just shitty writing. There is no earthly reason.
We're gonna get to that in a moment because Johnny tried to talk about it. If you haven't watched our podcast, if you listen to our podcast for Matinee Talk, Johnny tries to retcon this. I don't believe it, but we're gonna get to that in a moment. And then she goes back to the psych ward, and she's like, what did he do? The guy, I guess he's the security computer engineer guy, goes in. He's like, all the footage has been shared to a USB link, and it's like, oh, I forgot I told him that we'll be watching every move. We have 100 cameras installed into this facility to see if anything happens, and so he uses every single camera to record everything.
The whole fight scene
at the end, right? And basically, he shares it to the world.
And people see it, the son, the girl, and then Glass's mom are all sitting in like the
Philadelphia train station.
And they're just looking, and everyone's watching YouTube. Oh my God, these people! You see this? First off, if I see shit like that on YouTube, I don't think it's real. That's the dumbest shit ever. Second off, there's so many things that don't make sense, especially in that last like 30 minutes because
So, like I said,
it makes me so mad.
The first hour and a half of the movie, don't get me wrong, was it hour and a half? Whatever the first two acts were. The first two acts felt like it was build up. I wasn't upset about it. I wasn't upset about the different storylines that were going. I wasn't upset about like all the different scenarios. Because like I was telling Johnny, there's 4 different movies, maybe arguably 5, that's going on at the same time. You got basically the continuation of Unbreakable. Then you get the fight that we're looking for, which is like the sequel between Unbreakable.
That's the most annoying thing to me is they lead up to this big fight on top of this tower for the whole like first half of the movie, and we don't get it.
Well, before we even get to that, we're talking about like when David Dunn and the Beast are fighting, right? We're talking about that little sequel, right? And then we get the movie that we're supposed to be getting, which is basically Sarah Paulson telling everybody, like, hey, what if you're not actually real? Then you get Glass's version of Unbreakable sequel. Then you get the Glass movie. Or you get whatever the hell the last 10 minutes was. And it's just like, those 4 movies, I would have been fine if you would have made a nice bow at the end of everything, if you would have tied up everything together. But the fuck was that? Like, what was the end?
I was fully expecting at the end, at some point, Haley Joel Osment to pop up, and his power is he sees dead people. Like, that's how dumb this shit was getting.
So, like, I'll put it this way. Like, what I liked was the first 20 minutes of the movie, David and his son doing this Batman Oracle thing. And I love the idea of, like, hey, we've been doing this because this is something that we wanted to do. The wife didn't like it, but she died recently, and we're doing this because this is our best way of moving on and things like that. Cool. Then you got James McAvoy, who literally is the best part of the movie. Again, just like in Split, James does a phenomenal ass job this entire movie. I knew he was gonna do it. I was like, I hope he basically says, yeah, that was me.
I was doing great. I sat through it, so I did great.
That's a superpower in itself.
Jesus.
So James McAvoy does a phenomenal job. And basically what I liked about it before going to the psych ward is like the Beast and the Horde is like, this dude's back didn't break.
Also, he catches him pretty quick. Like he's like, I'm gonna go look for the Horde. Found him.
Well, Hedwig is a 9-year-old kid who's being an idiot.
Okay, but it took him this long to find him, and then.
Okay, like I see what you're saying. I see what you said.
There's no like chase or like. It's just like, I got him.
Okay, fair. And so then the Beast is like going through all of his motions, and it's just like, okay, we're trying to break David Dunn's back. We can't. And then when they get to the hospital, it's like, I want to talk to him. I want to whoop his ass because it's like the Beast at this point think he's the only one, like the badass.
He doesn't like being challenged.
And he didn't like being challenged. And he could break David Dunn's back and somebody can actually whoop his ass. And he's like, whoa, no, we're not doing with that. What the hell is this? And like I said, that was okay. But then when we got to the...
Real quick thing about the first fight scene. Why the hell would David Dunn jump outside in the rain on purpose to fight him? That's like Superman, like he's in a fight and he's going one-on-one. He's like, let's get closer to this kryptonite.
So again, this is one problem that I have, which I'll get to in a moment. And then they get into the psych ward, and the best part of the movie is Sarah Paulson basically not retconning, but she's like trying to retcon.
She's trying to mentally retcon them from themselves.
Right, from those selves. And the way she explained things was probably the best part of the movie. Like, I'm just saying, like, how you were trying to say mentally, like how us as humans mentally take things on our own and how we basically play that and makes us physical. I liked how she made that aware specifically for David and how she specifically made it for Kevin. Now, was David's a stretch?
Because I would just be like, let me lift weight. I'll show you I'm super strong. That's literally an easy thing to prove.
Right. Was that a stretch for his strength and him touching and getting visions? I think the touching for visions was definitely a stretch as hell, but it was still plausible in this.
I'll show you the beast is real. Tie me down. I'll unleash the beast and try to cut me. I'll prove, like, because the whole thing, she's like, these specific situations. First off, there's no way in hell David Dunn, he's been doing this for 20 years almost. He would know if it's real or not. He's probably had some things where he's been like, okay, yeah, obviously this is real. The beast, like, there's only been like one experience that he's personally experienced where he got shot and stuff. But like,
again, but I agree with you. But the thing is, it's like the game isn't about, hey, I can give you facts. It's more about I'm messing with your mind enough that you doubt yourself. And that's what she was trying to do this entire time.
For 20 years, there's no way in hell David Dunn after 20 years.
No, I agree with you. Do I agree with the time frame? We're gonna get to that in a moment. No, I don't. I absolutely don't. Then let's talk about the fights. All right, let's talk about the fights between David and the Horde, the first part. Like James said, my problem with the rules in this franchise, I'm gonna call it a franchise. The rules with this franchise is the fact that we don't really know how much effect does David Dunn get with water, right? Is it a splash of water? Is it a whole bunch of water? Is it like a certain amount of water? Like, what the hell is wrong with him and his kryptonite, right? Because like they talk about like how, you know, he almost drowned because those kids were bullying him and stuff like that, and that's how he knew like he just doesn't like water.
Because it always seems like it's only when he's being like submerged completely.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So like, it was like, okay, he's submerged in water. Now we have a problem. But literally,
he gets hosed down and it hurts him though.
Right. So that's what I was just about to say. So now when he's getting hosed, like he's redcon now. Like, is he really like just drowning himself in water? So that's why I was confused about in the first fight. It's like in the rain, he seemed fine.
But I figure that's why he wears a trench coat. He wears like a poncho, yeah.
Poncho, yeah.
But even still, like, why would you ever even go near the rain if you don't have to?
If you didn't need to, right? And it's just like that didn't make any like writing sense. That's why I was like, okay. And then your explanation why Elijah was comatose for 2x, I was upset with.
Isn't it pretty much like he's just kind of faking?
Yeah. He's faking everything so he can have all three of them come together and have this big battle. And it's like, okay. And your plan, all right, yeah, let's talk about that plan. Let's talk about that beautiful plan Elijah had. Nothing on you, Sam. I'm just talking about the writer. So you make it an idea that you're going to fight entire this tower and basically say, hey, this is what we want to do. This is where we want to fight. And we're going to do this big thing around the world, right? I guess for me, it's like if you had that plan all along where you're going to basically blast everything on social media, which, again, we'll get to in a moment. Am I supposed to not be excited that we did not get to the tower? Hell no.
That's the thing. Like, it sets up for this whole fake idea that, like, it's all a fake ploy by him. But you're setting up for this big climactic fight, and then you don't give it to us because that was never his plan in the first place. Like, then don't be like, hey, here, I'll give you $100. Like, really? It's like, nah, but
Actually,
here's a quarter,
60.
and you're like, but you told me for a week you were giving me $100. Like, but here's a quarter. Like, you don't just pull the rug out from someone like that and expect them to be like, oh yeah,
okay.
that's fine. Like, I understand what you're going. Like, if you're reading a book, that's fine. But when you're watching it, you're expecting this big climactic fight, and you just don't get it.
It was like
Stupid.
It was annoying. And then my biggest thing was like I was telling Johnny, I get the idea. All right, so about Sarah Paulson's character, which she does a good job. She acting wise, she does a good job. Story wise, again, not on you, Sarah. It's the writer and director. Sarah is like not James. Johnny was like, hey, she admires them. And she gives you little snippets of like admiring them and stuff like that. Cause like when he was trying to like run and try to like run away from the light and stuff like that and things like that. And she's like, young man, stop it, blah, 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 things like that. And when she was trying to hold out his hand and tell him like everything that was happening, like at the end with David Dunn when he's drowning, he's like showing that. And then like
She goes to Elijah's like, hey, at least you were right.
Right. And like
That's the whole thing. She's humane.
But
that's her whole character. She's like, I want to put them down, and I want them to be. I don't want to kill them. I want to try to convince them that they're not people, and if they don't have that, or they're not heroes, that doesn't work. Then kill them.
But that's where my problem comes in. If that's the case, then why in the actual hell you didn't give me more scenes of that? And I'm supposed to believe that she's humane enough to go to a comic book store and go listen to some two comic book guys talk about like mastermind. I don't believe that shit, not one bit. I'm sorry, M. Night. You didn't give me enough character development for that. You didn't. Like,
because you didn't see. They showed her like maybe he touched her and he sees her doing this with a whole bunch of other people, like convincing them that they're not heroes, or like you see this, like we're just this is a one case scenario.
Writing, but I want to say, but even in writing, it made it seem like this was the only one.
Yeah.
Like this was the only situation that she's been in, and so that's why I'm like, you didn't give me any character development for me to believe that she's.
And we also talked before the whole fact that she knows who these people are already. Why did she wait 20 years to come after David Dunn? Like, there's no point. It's like, why wouldn't you have just gone when he immediately started becoming a thing and convinced them then?
And Johnny was
How hard is it to convince someone after them doing something for 20 years versus if I'm doing something for a week and you're like, hey, that's not right. Okay. If I'm doing it for 20 years, you say that's not right. It's like, I've been doing it for 20 years.
Right. And my biggest thing is like I was telling Johnny, is like, you telling me this organization has been around for 2 decades. I mean, for whatever long they've been. And you're telling me when Elijah killed all of those people in the train.
He just kept killing people and they were cool with it.
Right. You were okay with it. But all of a sudden, when he's at a crazy house, all three of them are together, it's like, okay, we're going to kill him.
Because that's the whole point of Unbreakable is he killed all of these different mass giant murders until he finally got Bruce Willis. Why wouldn't they have been like, hey, that really smart, because they were like the Illuminati. They pretty much know everything. Why wouldn't they have been like, hey, this guy keeps killing normal people, the ones we're trying to protect, to find a superhero. Let's just stop him, because if they stop Glass early, Bruce Willis never finds out he's unbreakable.
And Kevin would have never been made. And it's like this whole organization, you should blame yourself because all of this has happened. Because you wouldn't be proactive. Again, like I said, it doesn't make any sense. And like what you were saying to your point, it's like my biggest problem with this movie is the fact that at the end, he expects us, people from social media, just to be like, oh my God, I see superhero shit. Oh, cool. I'm going to say this and I'm going to show everybody. Bro, I'm going to let you know right now, I wouldn't have.
That should have been dead in a week. Like,
no, literally, yeah. I was listening to a podcast. Literally, they were saying that. I was like, literally, we're gonna go. Oh shit, yeah. Have you seen this?
Oh yeah, I saw last week. I'm done with it.
Oh shit, we got a new trailer for a new Spider-Man movie. Like it would have literally been cool. Next, like we wouldn't have been as what M. Night is. And I was gonna say that it's like M. Night. No offense to you, Shyamalan Ding Dong, but it's like. You're an old man trying to catch on to the millennials and trying to say this is what millennials' experience would be. and I hate to say it, I love you, M. Night, sometimes, but this was one of those moments where it was just like, it didn't make sense.
It would have been more impactful, especially with Glass being super mastermind he is, if he would have, as it was happening live, broadcast it to the world. Like hacked into like all the world satellites and broadcast it all TVs like a mastermind villain would. But then you don't get your twist that he was secretly doing it.
But I mean, here's the thing, and this is what I was telling a coworker of mine. If I were to do Glass, the last 15 minutes of it, I would have all of them kill each other. Like I would have had the Beast throw
David
in the water. David dies by that. I wouldn't have liked it, but I would have liked it better than what the fuck I got with the FBI agent just
in a puddle.
He kills Glass the way he did, and I would have had Anya Taylor basically do the exact same thing with Kevin, think him out, and then instead of it being a secret agency killing him while the police is holding him off, and she holds him and she like tries to walk away with him, boom, he gets shot and killed, and it happens like that, right? We get this whole funeral scene or this memorial scene where only just them, like literally only the people that have been affected by those three are there, like his Glass's mom and all of them, right? And at that moment, we would have been like, okay, so what happened? And then basically we got a news break of talking about like, hey, we had this live footage that happened this past week. This is what's been going on. And that's how I would have ended.
Yeah.
That's how it would have been. And like, okay, cool. Glass
similar to Watchmen, how Watchmen ends with like the journal.
Right.
And like, oh shit, the news is still out there.
Right. That's how I would have done
not
it.
Not a YouTube
video. Not from a YouTube, Twitter handle video that I'm literally going to just be like, retweet, never see again.
I want to say one little last thing before we pretty much wrap up. Isn't it really kind of weird, the relationship between the girl and Kevin?
Anya Taylor-Joy with Kevin?
It seemed a little R. Kelly.
Claire and Kevin was a little weird. And I was going to say that a lot of people keep saying that was an empowerment thing because, you know, she's a woman who's a rape survivor from her uncle and all this other stuff. I get that. But M. Night made it seem like they were a little bit on R. Kelly Aaliyah's side.
Yeah, there was like a weird, like kind of like a love interest type thing there.
It seemed like it, and she was like, "You were my friend," and they were a little too close for me. Like me personally, I was uncomfortable with it.
I often grab my friend's arms like this, like, oh,
like it was very uncomfortable to watch that. Yeah, that was a little weird for me, and I need somebody to explain that.
No, I'm good without hearing anything else from this movie, to be quite honest.
I gave it 2.5 out of 5.
That's I think high.
See,
I'd give it a 1.5.
The only reason why I give it a 2.5 is because, like I said, I've seen signs of brilliance in this movie. Like I said, the first 20 minutes, amazing. James McAvoy's performance.
Can you answer me this question real quick? Who's the main character of this movie?
Did I say I loved the movie overall? I said it had signs of brilliance. That's the only reason why. Because, all right,
it had signs of competence.
Again, like I said, there's certain scenes that I liked that was really well done. I loved the color scheme that he had in the psych ward. I loved some of the set pieces that he made, and I love some of the like acting here and there. Now, is the overall movie terrible? Not terrible. Yeah, disappointing? Yes. I'm not arguing that. But what I'm saying is I would at least be able to enjoy the first hour of this movie. The last 30 minutes, I can literally go chop off and go throw it in a dumpster fire, never to be seen again. Like, that's what I mean by there's signs of brilliance, and then it's literally like M. Night Shyamalan doing M. Night Shyamalan shit at the end of the movie to make it what it is. And it's like, I want to drop kick you in the throat.
Like, so I don't even know if it's... This movie doesn't even have a genre. It's not an action movie.
It's not an action movie. It's not a psychological thriller.
It's not a mystery. It's just like, here's just some stuff that happened.
Yeah.
And here's a fight at the end. Well, there you go.
And that's where my problem comes in. It's just like, it was too ambitious. Like I said in my tweet, overall, it was way too ambitious. It had like I said, it had signs of brilliance, but it fell flat at the end. M. Night, I'm sorry.
I'm not sorry.
It's not your best movie. It's not the best way to end it. and you have left it out where you say you're not going to make anymore. You have left it to the possibility that you will make more. I was disappointed. I feel like this was a Signs movie. Like, Signs builds up to something, and it's like, the aliens, all they need is water and they'll die.
They're unbreakable. Water's their weakness. That's the reoccurring. Let's end this. I'm done. I'm so done.
On that note, tell us what you think of Class. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications if you haven't. I know James doesn't want to listen.
Best part is someone clicks at the beginning of the video, they'll see me sitting up all straight. At the end, I'm like just in a ball. Like, I just can't handle this shit anymore. I hated this movie, man. I laughed. It was a comedy more than anything. Subscribe, share the video, follow Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
And by the way, we forgot. We're going to shout out our friend Andrew Geller. Thank you for the microphones. We really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. We didn't know who the hell it came from. I thought Julian bought him. Julian thought I bought him. So that was pretty funny.
We appreciate you, Andrew. But from all of us here at Station, guys, thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. God.